Good afternoon. You know, it's customary at annual meetings to talk about what was or what happened during the past year. I'm going to spare you most of that today, and my excuse being that on your seats as you came in was the 2009 annual report that's hot off the press, as well as a new fax brochure. Those fax brochures we print on a regular basis, but this is a redesign in-house, and I think it came out well, and so we wanted you all to have that. And by the way, we do have extras of those, both pieces of material in the office, so if you need additional for customers or vendors or employees you're trying to recruit, we're more than happy to supply those. I said I was going to spare some of what happened during the past year, but I strongly believe that economic development is everybody's business. It's particularly the business of everybody here in this room. And for that reason, I want to just highlight a couple things that have gone on and things that I think you should be aware of so you can talk to your friends, your business associates, your customers, your suppliers, and other people that either may or may not consider an investment here, but people that you can influence about what the Tri-Cities is all about. And in 2009, the Tri-Cities ranked 6th in the nation in the Milliken's Institute Best Performing Small Cities. We ranked 2nd among metropolitan areas across the country for month-to-month increases in job growth. And Manpower called us the 2nd best city for employment in the U.S. We have the lowest cost of living of any metropolitan area in the state. And when most communities were actually seeing company downsizing and losing jobs, we were chosen by companies like Cascade Natural Gas, Areva, and GCL Solar as a place to expand or locate new facilities. I think also 2009 was really a bellwether year for many reasons in the Tri-Cities, not just because of the economy. I do want you to hear about one of those things that I think are very important, something that's coming, actually had its genesis in late 2008 from the Department of Energy, and we've been meeting throughout 2009 to kind of put some meat on its bones, and that's the Mid-Columbia Energy Initiative. And I'd like Mike Schwenk to come up again. Mike, you're part of this program today. But Mike has agreed, Mike has volunteered, I'd like to say, to actually be the chair of the Mid-Columbia Energy Initiative that TRIDEC's putting forth, and also the board liaison, and Mike's going to talk a little bit about that. So welcome again. Thank you.
Let me borrow that for a second. So here's what happens. You know, when you're chairman of the board or president, somebody makes a nice script for you and it's all typed and everything else. Then when you're just sort of another volunteer, this is what you get. Thanks, Carl, and thank all of you really for the plaque and the gift. I just really serving as chair. Trust me, Rich, it's not that bad. The board is great, executive committee is great, staff is superb, and relative to the way this institution ran when I sat in Carl's office, boy, I tell you, it's night and day, and it really is a tribute to the team that's been assembled and the years of maturity that the organization has realized. So my hat's off to everybody and many, many thanks. It was a pleasure to serve. Second thing I'd like to say is I do play in a band. We don't do the bar scene, but if you guys have any special events, hey, call me, you know, shameless plug. Highway 12 is the name of the band. And I also, I promised I would do this. I'm still looking for the right venue, but I happen to know that our guest speaker today also plays guitar. And I have this list, I guess they're bucket lists, right, or something like that, but I have a list of things I want to do in life. And one of the things is somehow he and I are going to, I don't know if jam is the right word, but we will find a way to play together at some appropriate venue at some time. So be forewarned, Rogers, that the gauntlet's been thrown down. Yeah, he's denying it. No. What I'm going to talk about is the centerfold of your annual report. So that must make it the most important part in there, right? But when ARA, or the Recovery Act, passed, and the stimulus money, as we often refer to it, began to take shape, as you all well know, we became the recipient through Hanford and cleanup and shovel-ready projects, a major chunk of that money. And with that, there was good news, which is a lot of additional work at Hanford could get done. A lot of extra people would need to be hired to do that work, and that indeed the environmental issues associated with Hanford and cleanup would get resolved sooner rather than later. So we're all for all of that, and it's a very good thing. But we also knew the day that all that appeared on the horizon that it had a downside. And the downside was that those people would someday not have sustainable jobs. That accelerated cleanup actually meant that the ultimate completion of many of the elements of the work at Hanford would truly be completed, not to return. And that, to be very honest with you, myself and members of the executive committee and the board were pretty nervous about the whole thing. And so jumping on that, I think, and recognizing it, the Department of Energy, the cleanup people, DOE, EM, and Trier, who's the head of that, the leader, when they conceived of this footprint reduction program where they would shrink the size of the cleanup sites as a result of all the stimulus cleanup activity, they said, well, geez, maybe there's something you could do with those assets. And given that one of the new administration's grand challenges, in their words, is to create a clean energy revolution in the nation, the question was, well, what role could a reduced footprint at a site like Hanford play in that clean energy revolution? So from that was born the Mid-Columbia Energy Initiative as we know it today. A very robust and excited team of people from throughout our community got together under the auspices of TRIDEC to sift and sort through that and try and come up with a mission and purpose and vision for what we might do with all that excess land and how it is that we might hook on to the bigger national agenda when it comes to clean energy. In August, the TRIDEC board had a little powwow, or the executive committee, I guess, about our overall strategy for the organization, something you all ought to do periodically. Concluded that basically those things that you know about TRIDEC and are in the annual report are sound, but that it was time for a huge, major new push in this community in some extraordinarily big way to create yet another new future for us on a grand scale. And in looking around, it just became evident that there was one choice that we were going to roll the dice on, and it's going to be the clean energy revolution that has begun in this nation. And it seems to fit because I think this whole community has built itself solving big national challenges. So whether its roots were in the Manhattan Project and through the Cold War, we know that era and we were hooked to the major challenges of this nation at the time. Even to the fact that we've grown the agriculture community where we have has hooked us to feeding the world, feeding the nation kind of an agenda. So to it that we should pick another initiative that builds from all of that and hooks us to the next big national challenge, indeed global challenge. So that's what we decided to do, and we are now in the process of adding another level of sophistication to the planning in this energy initiative, and there's a very simple way to think about this. One is we're going to work on electricity supply, and so whether that's coal, nuclear, natural gas, alternative forms, whether it's wind or solar, hydropower, whatever the form is, we're going to take a look at what our play might be in that, and not just from a generation point of view, because all you have to do is look and drive around and you know we're in that business in a big way. But remember, this is an economic development agenda, and so it's about creating jobs and businesses in our community and the region around us.